All right, if you're an architect gunning for that AWS certification, listen up. There are some services you don't just know, you have to master them. And today, we're diving deep into one of the big ones, AWS Transcribe. Let's do this. Okay, so here's our game plan. Think of this as our architect's journey. We're going to cover what Transcribe even is, then get into the key features you'll actually use. We'll tackle that big choice, batch versus streaming. We'll look at some specialized models, and then we'll wrap up with the thing every great architect obsesses over, how to save money and optimize for cost. So let's kick things off by setting the scene. Think about it. Businesses today are just drowning in audio data, right? You've got customer service calls, endless Zoom meetings, video content, podcasts. It's a mountain of sound. So the big question is, how do you actually unlock the value that's trapped in there? How do you turn all that noise into something you can actually search, analyze, and use? And that, my friends, is exactly where AWS Transcribe steps in. Now, on the surface, it's an automatic speech recognition service, ASR for short. But here's the key takeaway. For any architect, the part you really need to remember, it is a fully managed service. What does that mean for you? It means no building, no training, no managing crazy complex machine learning models. AWS does all of that heavy lifting, so you can just focus on building your awesome application. And honestly, the scope of this thing is just wow. It's really impressive. We're talking support for over 100 languages and dialects. It can even figure out the language on its own. And then there's Speaker Diarization, which is just a fancy way of answering that super important question, who spoke and when? You throw in features like redacting sensitive info for compliance, plus the choice between batch and real time, and what you've got is a seriously powerful toolkit for any architect. All right, so we've got the 30,000-foot view. Now let's zoom in and get our hands dirty with some of the specific features. And trust me, understanding these is absolutely crucial if you want to design solutions that actually work well, are secure, and keep you out of trouble. First up, PII Redaction. And this one is a huge deal. Seriously. Anytime you're dealing with customer audio, you're going to run into personally identifiable information, or PII. Think names, addresses, social security numbers, you name it. This feature is a lifesaver. It automatically finds that sensitive data in the transcript and just masks it. This is absolutely essential for things like GDPR and just general privacy and compliance. Okay, now pay close attention here because this is a direct quote from the AWS docs, and it's a classic architect's gotcha. It basically says that because machine learning is all about prediction, it might not catch every single piece of sensitive data. It's not 100% perfect. So what's the takeaway? If your application has zero tolerance for leaking PII, your architecture must include a human review step. You can't just set it and forget it. That's a key exam-level detail right there. All right, here's another fork in the road you'll definitely encounter. What happens when your audio is full of weird product names or super specific industry jargon? Well, for the simple stuff, you can use a custom vocabulary. It's like giving Transcribe a cheat sheet, just a list of words to watch out for. But for more complex stuff, you need the heavy hitter, a custom language model, or CLM. A CLM is way smarter. It doesn't just learn words, it learns the context, the relationships between words. You train it with your own documents, so it learns that, say, in a medical context, a certain drug name is more likely than a similar-sounding word. The result? A massive boost in accuracy. Okay, this next one is probably the very first decision you'll make when you start designing with Transcribe. It's the big one, batch versus streaming. And it all boils down to one simple question. Do you need the transcription right this second, or can it wait a little while? So let's break it down. Batch is all about processing files that already exist. You take an audio file, you drop it in an S3 bucket, you kick off a job, and Transcribe works on it in the background. This is perfect for things you do after the fact, like transcribing a podcast or analyzing yesterday's call center recordings. Streaming, on the other hand, is all about the now. It's real time. You're feeding it a live audio stream and you're getting a transcript back instantly. Think live captions on a webinar or taking meeting notes as the meeting is happening. And here's a super important note for any architect. The price per minute is exactly the same for both. So let's just do a quick walkthrough of what that batch process actually looks like. And this follows a classic AWS pattern you've seen a million times. Everything starts in S3. Step 1 is just uploading your audio or video file to an S3 bucket. That's your starting point. Then you just hop over to Transcribe and create a new job. You basically just tell it, hey, the file you need is over here, and you give it the S3 path. This kicks off the whole process in the background, which is great because your own app isn't stuck waiting for it to finish. And when it's done, you get your results. You can see the simple text version right there in the console, which is cool. But for your actual application, the real treasure is the detailed JSON file. Because that file has everything, not just the words, but timestamps, confidence scores for every single word, all the good stuff you need to build really powerful features on top of it. Okay, so the standard model we've been talking about is a beast. It's great for most things, but what if you're in a really specific field, like medicine or a call center? Well, for those high-stakes industries, AWS has built specialized, pre-trained models that give you even better accuracy right out of the box, no extra work needed. So here are the main choices. You've got the Call Analytics model, which is tailor-made for contact centers and can even do things like detect customer sentiment. Then there's the medical model, which is HIPAA-eligible and awesome for transcribing doctor's notes. Now here's the architect's trade-off. These specialized models are amazing, but they do cost more, so you have to be able to justify that extra cost. It's all about choosing the right tool for the job and not overspending. All right, let's get to the part of the conversation that matters in every single real-world project, the money. Let's talk cost. Because let's be honest, a solution isn't really a solution unless it's cost-effective. This is a core part of the AWS well-architected framework, and it's something you have to know. So let's start with our baseline number. For your standard, everyday transcription, you're looking at a starting price of 2.4 cents per minute. That's the number to keep in your head as we go. But like with a lot of AWS services, the more you use, the cheaper it gets per minute. They have a tiered pricing model. And here's the really key part. They combine your usage for both batch and streaming jobs to figure out your tier. So if you look at the numbers, at the highest tier, you're saving almost 70%. This is why, as an architect, you should always be thinking about consolidating all your company's transcription work into one account. You'll hit those cheaper tiers way faster. And hey, if you're just getting your feet wet, there's a free tier. You get 60 minutes a month for your first year with AWS, which is awesome for experimenting. But, and this is a big but, be super careful about the limitations. The free tier only works for the standard model. The second you use the medical or call analytics models, that free tier is out the window and the billing clock starts ticking from minute 1. Okay, let's wrap this up with 6 solid exam-ready tips to keep your costs down. 1. Pick the right model. Don't pay 3 times more for the medical model if you don't actually need it. 2. Consolidate your work into one account to hit those volume discounts. 3. This is a pro tip. If you have a bunch of tiny audio files, batch them together. There's a 60-second minimum charge, so this saves you money. 4. Be smart about custom language models. Use them when the improved accuracy will save you more money on manual corrections than the model costs. 5. Watch your AWS region. Prices can be way different. São Paulo, for instance, can be almost 70% more expensive. And finally, number 6, monitor your usage. Set up billing alerts so you don't get a nasty surprise at the end of the month. And that's the whole shebang. From the core functions and features all the way to cost optimization, you now have the complete architect's toolkit for AWS Transcribe. So the only question left is, what cool voice-powered app are you going to build first? Thanks for watching.